This is the Esky Solar Tulip Garden Light. And this is an item that I'm a bit ambivalent in terms of my rating and my overall review. Because on one hand, this garden light, when it's lit up at night, looks very nice in the garden. But on the other side of things, it doesn't look quite as nice in the daylight, and in my opinion needs some design improvements to make it look, number one, better and operate overall better. The light itself has a silver colored stake here at the end, and for some reason they've got a plastic end cap on the end of this. And the problem with the end cap on this is it very easily comes off. So if you're putting this in the ground and you want to move it, this end cap's going to pop off in the ground, and you're going to have to dig it back up and out. Why the stake isn't completely metal, or the end cap kind of permanently attached, or at least better attached than this is, I don't understand that. So that to me is one area that needs some type of improvement in design. I'm going to use actually glue to help hold this on to try to keep this from getting lost in the ground in case I do want to move it, although that's kind of a temporary fix, I think. But in addition to that, the solar panel is actually attached on the stake of the garden light. That's kind of a flip down kind of style. You can see the power switch there underneath, but as opposed to those type of garden lights that have a separate solar panel stake that's separate from the main part of the light, I think this kind of hurts the overall look of the light. You know, with this big solar panel on the stake itself, and I think a separate panel would have been nicer and give a better look. But aside from that, one of my concerns with this, let me flip that up, is you can see the red, and there's a black wire too that's harder to see, but the wiring here underneath that goes from the solar panel into the stake of the garden light. The wiring is exposed to the elements, which I don't think is good. They're thin wires on top of that, and there's no protective cover or anything like that to protect them. And in addition to that, and it's hard to see here, there's two holes where the wires come in and go out of, but those are not sealed up with any kind of protective silicone to keep water or anything like that from getting into the solar panel or into the wiring area here. But my bigger concern would be the solar panel electronics. So that's not sealed off either. So I'm not so sure how long this will hold up before failing because of that design. So that concerns me with some long-term durability with this solar light. Now the top half of the light is designed to look like tulips at the top, and it does that to a point. It's everything at this top half is made of plastic, but the design kind of looks artificial, especially up close and in daylight. The leaves have a wiring in them to kind of give them some type of form along with the stem of the tulips themselves. But the tulips themselves actually look the most realistic of this set here. It's made of some type of stiff cloth fabric type of substance that is colored white and pink, and they do look a bit more real than I actually expect them to look as compared to the plastic leaves and stem of the rest of the garden light here. I would have preferred these to be the tulip leaf to be like a colored glass. I think that would give a more elegant look, although I'm not sure I would expect that in this price range at $15. But it would have helped the overall look of this if it had a little bit more realistic feel, or a little bit more elegant look to it, I would think, as opposed to the way they've designed this. The other thing is with this silver stake, I'm not sure why they would have not made this to give it a bronzed look or a brown look to kind of give it a little bit more of a way to blend in to the garden and make it less noticeable. I think the silver stake kind of stands out quite a bit with that. So I've had other solar like lights, you know, like a cattail type of solar light that does an excellent job at blending in with like bronzed, you know, a bronze looking overall stake and look that kind of makes it look more like a, you know, an item that belongs in the garden than this silver stake does. And this is kind of where I'm torn with this, because at night it does look nice when it's lit up, and it so far has worked through several hours in the night, and I'll show some video at the end of my review of how it looks in the nighttime. But I'm concerned about the long-term durability of this in terms of, especially with the wiring, the way that's made. But at least this does have a year warranty for this particular brand. But I do, again, I'm concerned about how long term this will actually last. There's nothing in the instructions about changing the solar panel battery either. There are 4 screws on the back of this panel here, but I'm not so sure that you can just change the battery. I haven't tried that. So I'm assuming, since they don't detail changing the batteries in the instructions, it's not possible to do so. Now, again, for the price, at currently $15, I don't expect a high-end garden light, but at this price, some of these design improvements could be made that would make this more durable and have an overall nicer look. For me, I think this is best put in an area where you can blend it into the garden, and as it does have a nice look at night, but someplace you can blend it in so that these, you know, design issues don't stand out so much. Again, I'm going to show some video here in the end of this review to show you kind of what it looks like lit up at night, but I give this 3 stars. This is how it looks at night. It looks really nice at nighttime. I wish the quality overall was a little bit better, and I wish it had a little bit nicer look in the daytime, but the nighttime is really nice.